let's talk about the Brandon Sanderson Convention, Dragonsteel Nexus 2024, the book release party for his 5th installment of the Stormlight Archives, Wind and Truth. Most exciting thing about this year's convention for me, other than the book, is that it's how my husband and I decided to celebrate our 12th anniversary, otherwise known as Glorious Dragonsteel Treat Yourself Anniversary Extravaganza. And thirdly, because it was going to be their first ever Worldhopper ball. I'm a huge fantasy ball enthusiast, so I will cover a lot about the ball in the second half of this video. For now, let's talk about the convention game, the free cards people were getting. Go on a huge splurge, do a couple of unboxings. There's going to be a giveaway for a copy of the book and more, so here we go. After waiting in the check-in line, which had live musicians for entertainment, very classy, Brandon, well done, we were given our badges. And one of my very favorite things are Worldhopper passports and a lanyard that displayed our Radiant Order. This is my husband's, he's a Truth Watcher, and I am a Lightweaver. We also got 2 packs of free cards of the Stormlight Lost Tales story deck, the world's first trading card story. Our badge had the QR code on the back that helped us scan for any of our signings or tickets to the ball. The passport is one of my favorite keepsakes. It was the Scavenger Hunt booklet for this year's convention, and it was a really fun game. It incentivized us to participate in all sorts of different parts of the convention, from the panels to the gaming room to crafting room. It was also amazing because you could earn more of these cards through getting the stamps in this book, though they weren't super clear about that. I don't know if I missed instructions or something, but I did not realize until like the end of the second day where people were getting more cards. It had all of your programming and schedules and, you know, the map for the event and all sorts of fun little in-world characterization in here. This document is issued by the Silverlight Bureau of Perpendicularity Regulation and Interrealmatic Transport. Visit each of the worlds to receive a stamp in your passport. Those who are brave enough to complete all possible quests will receive additional recognition for their dedication while supplies last. For First of the Sun, you had to do 3 different activities in the Radisson Hotel where they had everything set up for the Lightweaver Foundation. So all of the activities raising money for charity. Is this the Mistborn symbols on it?
Yeah.
Oh, to go probably with this beautiful mist cloak. I do like the idea of different colors of strips.
Yeah.
This would also work.
In fact, this is kind of like your outfit right now.
Ooh, yes. This fabric with the 2 tones. Ooh. There's the Mistborn Santa line. Trying not to show strangers' faces.
Allomancy stocking stuffers, that's pretty great.
That is cute. So, $15 each. That's pretty affordable, honestly.
Yeah.
For, like, especially like a charity thing. Is this the same one from last year? Look at the silk!
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god, it's so cute! She's so Christmassy. They had Mistborn Santa, and the coolest thing they were selling was these official Worldhopper ball goblets. I'm getting one. But they told me because I was going to the ball that we were each getting a free one from the ball. There's so many cool details on this. So this is a brand new glyph released for the ball. The top half is House Colin and the bottom house is House Devar. So for Adolin and Shalon's houses put together. And this symbol was on the banners at the ball. It was on the napkins. Do you know how much self-control it took for me not to take like a stack of napkins, or at least more than one? And unfortunately mine's bent, but I have one. And then on this top rim here is a Kedik, or like a symmetrical poem written by Yasna for them. And if you translate the women's script here, it says, "One ring to bind them." Nope, that's not quite right. Lovely wedding sentiment though. Actually it says, "United, new beginnings sing, defying truth, love. Truth Defy, Sing Beginnings New, Unity. So that is just so cool. So many fun details in a singular item here. There were 4 different charities partnered with Lightweaver and Dragonsteel this year. The Prison Book Program.
Thousands of books based on the thousands of letters we get from people in prisons. There's still limited access to the freedom to read today. And they'll request books about art. They'll request scientific journals. They'll request a lot of sci-fi and fantasy.
Operation Literacy helps bring authors into underprivileged areas.
We'll take an author into a Title I school. Kids get to actually meet the author, but we give a copy of that author's book to every student in the school.
Okay, so Brandon did that just recently
Yes,
with
Exactly.
Most Boring Book Ever, right?
Yeah.
And so we work with authors like Brandon or Christopher Paolini. There's a statistic that kids are 80% more likely to read a book if they've met the author. There's many, many kids that actually don't have an age-appropriate book in their household.
My Story Matters is a program that people in prison or others can sign up for.
Our organization is like the Caledon to Bridgeport. We have people in gangs and that have lived a lifetime of abuse, that have just felt like they were worthless and controlled by their past and controlled by their mistake. We teach them truly through the construct of the hero's journey that's taught in principle format, that they can be the captain of their own story.
And Lifting Hands International, which helps refugees at home and abroad. I have links to the Lightweaver Foundation on all of these charities below if you want to learn more about them. Okay, Taldane was its own separate scavenger hunt. We had to find all of these QR codes on ornaments and solve puzzles. Komashi was a fun one because it was all about cosplay. So you had to attend a cosplay meetup, take a picture with someone in cosplay. That was really fun because like one of the squires or volunteers saw me in my mist cloak. By the way, this is my mist cloak. I saw this fabric and immediately thought of a mist cloak. I actually used it for like a Halloween witch first, and then I cut it up. It's also very good for someone who's like a beginner at sewing because you can't really see my mistakes as much as you can on like the really perfectly symmetrical mist cloaks. So this worked very well for me. They told me when there was a Mistborn meetup so that I was able to go and meet up with all of the other Mistborn. For the Canticles stamp, I had to visit this photo booth that made you look like you were walking on a chasm wall. And then the rest of the pages were for any of the vendors who had paid extra to be a sponsor, I believe, and they had like an official Silverlight Mercantile sign at their booth. You could finish just the required stamps and get this stamp here, or you could get every single stamp possible to get that stamp and a bonus stamp around it. And then those people got a super special pin of excellence until those ran out on the second day. So they're just giving out different con exclusive pins of the Radiant Orders, probably, for those that finished. Because look at me, I'm all official in recognition of major accomplishments aiding the further understanding of the Cosmere. This is so cute. This was a fun game. It was overwhelming at times, especially when I realized that I hadn't been doing the cards, which was more important to me, probably. But yeah, let's talk about that. For every page you finished, the required stamps, you got a pack of cards from the Lost Tales story deck. Right now, the only way to have gotten these cards was to have been at the convention, but I'm hearing they do have plans to release some to the public eventually. There were 3 stories to collect, plus nonsense cards, plus heralds cards, and holographic cards. Holographic nonsense cards. There's so many variations. On one side, you get a new story written by Brandon, and on the other side, it makes part of a picture. The hard thing about this was there was only one place to get your cards. You had to line up to the Silverlight Mercantile, get your passport stamped, and get your cards given to you. I was trying not to have to line up and do this constantly, so I only did it on the last day, and it took me an hour, maybe more, to get through the line for it. And so I missed out on a lot of card trading time I could have had in the convention from waiting that long. It was pretty hard to balance the timing of getting all the stamps, trading cards, going to all the panels you wanted to do, and all that sort of thing.
If you go around and you find someone with one of the orange staff badges, you ask them if they're Ghostblood. If they say yes, they can give you 1 free stamp to any of the areas within your passport.
A black market for the stamps.
Exactly.
Yes.
If there's one activity that I do wish I'd taken more time with at the convention, it is this. Mostly hands. Does everyone have a radiant, or am I having good luck?
You're having really good luck. They're pretty rare.
Nice. That's even one we don't have. I will say it was so funny to see everyone interacting with this. They had all of the cafeteria tables that some people were eating at, but a lot of them were just covered in people's dead husks on the tables. I have one unopened set left, but I'm giving this away towards the end of the video with the signed copy of Wind and Truth. So don't tell me if this had like a holographic herald in it or something. Actually, you can. Do tell me. One thing I love about Dragonsteel Nexus is it is a convention that seems to limit their ticket sales a little more, and obviously that's frustrating on years like this where there was so many more people that wanted to come for the Stormlight year than were able to get in. But it's just really nice because you have more room to breathe. It doesn't feel as crowded as other fan conventions I've been to. And, you know, something like Salt Lake City FanX covers so many different fandoms, but at this one, you know you're going to be meeting Brandon Sanderson fans, or at the very least, other fans of fantasy books. I was so inspired by all of the creativity and love that I saw in the community.
I started out with making some bones out of corrugated cardboard, and then if you look online, you can find a recipe for paper mache clay. And I built it up over that, painted it with an airbrusher.
That's so cool. Thank you so much. If it's not a secret.
It's not a secret. That is hot glue got on fairy lights.
Okay, but it looks so good in practice. If it works, it works. I love that. Thank you for sharing your secret.
Do you want to see the other ring she made?
What?
She made the avoid light ring.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Oh, ho, the Koloss know their munching ends our song.
So every year at the convention they often have a free crochet pattern. Mem who makes those. And I realized I had blanket yarn. I'm like, oh, I can make a big version of the crochet pattern.
Oh, so you took a pattern and sized it up.
Yes.
It's so good.
People cosplayed specific characters from the book, or several people were playing original characters that they made for the world, which I love.
I'm Chassanor of the 3rd Logistics Corps. I've been working under Dalinar ever since I was of 10th Dawn.
I myself often prefer doing original character cosplays to specific cosplays, partially sometimes for ease, because you don't have to match every detail. I guess I just like being creative with it, kind of like with my alternate mist cloak here. My husband joked that this is like the mist cloak of like a mysterious like witch on the edge of the city. Oh yeah, and I give like bone offerings to the Khandra. It's always so fun talking to all of the authors, some of them traditionally published, some of them self-published. I love stopping by the Brotherwise Games booth. I'm so excited for the Cosmere TTRPG. I want to play it so badly. There were some really fantastic vendors there. A couple that I want to give shout outs to are We Geek Together. They ran Magic the Gathering RPG events for the convention, as well as the game demos for Brotherwise. And they and Sea Dragon Cove and Dragon Wood Shop all had like all of the story deck cards laid out on their tables afterwards to help people find ones they were missing and just trade with them in a really easy way. I also want to highlight Dragon Wood Shop because they seem like such a cool like member of the Brandon Sanderson fan community. They host every year this annual Dug Hunt, Scavenger Hunt sort of thing. Great products where you can put the books in, or collector pins, or all sorts of different things like the coins.
So part of what I love about the convention is just being able to talk with people about the thing that we're all passionate about, why we're here, which is Brandon Sanderson's books. I'm a collector, and I know all of my fellow Sander fans are collectors of at least something, and I knew that everything that existed was not good enough for the stuff that Sanderson makes. So I wanted to make displays that were just as cool as the things that were coming out.
They also had something this year where you could rent a box to put your things in at the convention. So I bought like 3 copies of Wind and Truth for myself and for a Christmas present and for the giveaway. So I fortunately did not have to carry these around all day because I just stuck them over in my box. Another fun community activity was something called World Swappers. This is from the Sanderson Collectors Guild Discord. It was something you could sign up for to trade trinkets with people and meet up with the people doing that. I didn't actually participate in this super much, but one of them did send me a cookbook that they made. Okay, look how cute this is. This is by Brian Vanderhoof. He doesn't sell these or anything. So these are just a really wonderful thing he made for the World Swapper thing. See, like, what a cool community. Cooking in the Cosmere, perfect plates for your perpendicularity picnic. Oh wow, he signed it. Thank you. Oh, it's got Roshar, Scadriel, Lumar, Nalthis. Gosh, he's got like photography in here. Wow. I'm so happy. We were trying to save up all year so that we could like really splurge at this convention we have. It's all battered up now, but we have this little like envelope that we were like adding to every month. But we had a leather-bound Kickstarter. We had the most boring book ever come out. We had the ball and those tickets to get. So we really didn't have that much to spend. I spent a little more than I was supposed to get the Christmas gift and the giveaway copy of the book. I did sneak in some Christmas shopping for my husband. I'll make sure he waits to watch this video. I got him Truth Watcher socks. Matthew got Feathers Sharp as Knives by Christina Atkins. And then he also got the Sci-Fi Haiku Epic 1. I also did have a gift card to my friend's booth. So I got all dolled out for the Worldhopper ball at the Queen's Closet booth.
Before Queen's Closet versus after Queen's Closet.
There were so many amazing things, though, that I just felt like doing a little window shopping. Let's do some delusional Dragonsteel Nexus treat yourself shopping extravaganza. From the Dragonsteel official area, I would get a Truth Watcher and Lightweaver pajama set for us both. I would get myself a Tress sweater and a black Dragonsteel hoodie. Matthew, the Stormlight sweater and the Bridge 4 hoodie, Bridge 4 patch. All of the leather bounds that we are missing. Gotta have the Way of Kings playing mat, these postcards, Secret Project prints, holiday card sets, yes. Tress teacup, I want a set of 6 so that I can have a Tress tea party book party discussion. Doom slug molds, convention pin, 2 convention t-shirts, 2 Bridge 4 t-shirts. From Dragonwood Shop, I would get bookcases for all the leather bounds I just got, as well as the Secret Project specific bookcases, this coin display, pattern bookends, and this pin display. This one's $10. I could actually afford this one. From Dungeon Master Direct, they have a gaming cruise with Dan Wells and Dax Levine. You can take classes, and they have themed days with games and parties around those themes. My little themed heart would love it, as well as one of their new dice sets. At We Geek Together, I'd pick up the updated Player's Handbook and DM Guide, Atlas Obscura, a sword holder, and a rapier foam sword. From the Lightweaver Foundation, I am obsessed with these goblets and I want to have an entire fantasy feast with 20 or so friends, so I would buy 21 goblets. It's for charity, we're fine. This Sill ornament, the Radiant Order ornaments, Secret Project wooden ornament pack, I would add to the Tress painting, get a photo with Mistborn Santa. BYU Bookstore, I would buy the signed copies of the Songs of Chaos series, Starsight from Brandon Sanderson, Ghost Keepers by Joanna Taylor. From Forged Foam, I would get a Shard Blade, a Bridge 4 shield, Nightblood, and a spear. From Author's Alley, I would get the Grimmery anthology Neon Ghosts by Daniel Green. From Brotherwise Games, I would get the collector tier for all of the books for the upcoming Cosmere RPG. A little more art. This has been a delusional Dragonsteel Nexus treat yourself shopping extravaganza. On to the Worldhopper Ball. Here's what was fantastic about it. First off, the announcement, all the hype they had building up to it was so exciting. Absolute joy, the absolute anticipation spren as I was getting ready for this ball, as I was thinking about this ball ever since its announcement. Nexus was already one of my most anticipated events of the year, but once the Worldhopper ball was announced, that ball was my most anticipated event. How unique of an opportunity is this to go into one of your favorite books and see two really beloved characters get married? Secondly, simply an occasion to dress up for. That's kind of what my channel's about, what my passion in life is. You know, when else am I going to have a specific opportunity that's not just like a photo shoot or cosplaying at a convention to wear formal hava? I am about to go into the Worldhopper ball really soon here. I've been trying not to look too much at the spoilers of what it looks like and stuff, but I have seen some. It looks very cool. Hopefully I do have another opportunity. I might just make one myself. I don't know, find some more Stormlight friends. Just have our own Warren activity one of these days because it was so fun. Another cute detail, even though I think it was actually more of a logistical problem than a good thing, was that we rode these escalators up as though we were going to the top of this building. Urithiru in the books is a really tall building, and there's lifts that you use to get from the bottom of the building to the top of the building. So going up the escalators felt like we were going up those lifts, and they had these cute signs along the way. But I think that was part of what really slowed the line down though, which is a huge problem we'll talk about later. An early thought I had about the ball is I thought they would have it at a different venue because it was going to be pretty hard to make any of those conference rooms look really cute with like the wild carpet in there and stuff. However, color me impressed. I was proven wrong. They made it work. They had all these Persian style rugs and pretty lanterns and ottomans and everything that actually made it feel like this very cozy experience. Between that and the pavilions and the archways that match like the chapter headings, it really worked. And they did add a dance floor in the center of the room to have a little bit more of a formal space there. Details. Let me tell you about the details. They had strata in all of the marble pillars. Sibling, where are you at? The spren guarding the oath gate as we entered. How cool is this? Probably my very favorite hidden detail that I only saw because I circled back around to the entrance when I was trying to escape the volume levels of the event was that at this ball you were not just stepping into Roshar. I think you were stepping into a particular chapter of the book Wind and Truth on the weekend of its release. This is the title of chapter 97 in the book. I am not there yet. I'm closer to like chapter 42 right now. It very much gave this feeling of you were not just entering Shadesmar, you were entering into the words, you are seeping into the pages of a favorite book. You get to kind of like experience one of Dalinar's visions almost, inhabiting one of the people that visited this wedding. I don't know. That's how I kind of saw it and thought about it as I was think about it looking back. Good feelings. Amazing. I love those hidden details. Going through Shadesmar was so cool. Again, I was observing that more later and noticing all of the little beads and all of the details in Shadesmar. This is a rock and this one says, I'm a stick. The clock from the promo is real and it's so beautiful, and may I please have one. The food stands that were all around felt like a bazaar, kind of mixed with being in the market of Urithiru as much as a wedding. And the catering, I forget the exact name, but it was like Goncho, Crazy Cousins, something really cute and themed like that. The lamps and the gemstones glowing in the sconces. It's not a Stormlight immersive experience without some Stormlight in the sconces. So that's a requirement, and that was passed. Ooh, one of my favorite details is these gorgeous paintings. Look at this of Shallan and Adolin. They are so beautiful. Well done. Somebody let me know who the artist is. The gift bags, obviously, we already know. One of my very favorite things is these goblets. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They make me so happy. And it was so fun that they had them at the ball and as a gift. They did run out, I think, halfway through because my second drink that was not served in this, but my first one was. We also got coasters with the glyph. Oh, I haven't had time to look at this yet. It describes all of the different kinds of wines you can get. Orange is fruity with notes of ginger. Anyway, that's really cute. I loved the use of glyphs on the menus and the food containers. 2 activities that you could do during the ball that I thought were really nice details were that you could burn glyphs, which is basically like prayers or well wishes. And there was 3 different stamps of glyphs that you could choose between. And then you would burn those to wish Adolin and Shalon like happiness or prosperity. This is a very cool detail. This was such a fun idea. Kudos to whoever brought that one to the table. I didn't have time to sign the guest book, but there was also a guest book there that people could sign. A nice tangible way to show like, I was at Shalon and Aelin's wedding. There is physical evidence. I'm part of the story. I like that. Characters were great. Wow, I'm a real dork. You guys are gonna laugh at me. But meeting Wit, which was the first character you saw coming in, went a little like this.
It's him! All of the inspirational stories that he's told to.
It's rude to point, ma'am, and also why are you wearing a crown if you're not as pretty as me?
Oh, my sweet summer child.
Perhaps a queen with all those wrinkles on your face. You're very welcome. I will thank you once you're out of my sight.
Never meet your heroes. I saw people online saying that they wished he'd roasted them harder, so people loved it. And I'm okay because Navani got revenge for me later.
A beautiful night for us. Well, beautiful so long as Wit was not about.
Not that I knew until I watched back the video. The costumes were absolutely gorgeous for the characters. Wonderful work. The lighting, just tones between different scenes and everything was really good. Favorite thing about the ball was, of course, being there with my husband as we were celebrating our anniversary. But second best moment for this fantastic section is the awesome moment I got to have with Shalon. I, met her to take a photo, and I told her that if she needed any more Lightweavers in the unseen court, I was offering my services. And she was kind of putting on this sort of shy, awkward act for a lot of her interactions for this. But once I mentioned that, she totally shifted and gave me the slyest little smile and just like a wink. And I am on her short list. Was that actually her? That could have been, if you've read the books. Either way, I am on the short list. I'm being considered. Seriously considered. There was all sorts of different scenes and entertainment that was part of this. I'm putting this in the fantastic section, but spoiler alert, it's actually in the extremely disappointing section for me, but we'll get there. We're going to pretend it was all good for this section because I think it was really good and was fantastic for the people who could see it. Anyway, there was these speeches made.
Yet you two together are the kind of people who make a storm worth weathering.
Yasna was so cool.
Love is one of the greatest forms of power. And in kind, one of the greatest illusions.
Wit had some good lines.
Isn't it obvious that a vow is bound to go done without the storm?
I have a certain song that I listen to whenever I'm writing a scene about or imagining the most ideal ball there could be, and it's the carousel, the merry-go-round of life from Howl's Moving Castle. And that is what Adolin and Shalon danced to for their first dance. Oh, perfect. Except for excruciating, because I didn't see it. I'm trying to hold off. Bridge 4 did some katas. There was like a dance-off / battle between Adolin and Kaladin. And then the Windspren did this beautiful dance for everyone. And And then some of the sessions, maybe just the first one he went to, maybe both of them, had additional speeches from Brandon where he talked about sort of the creation of the characters. This is the first live adaptation of Brandon's work and worlds, and I think it would have been really special to watch the author see that come to life. I didn't want to go to the first session because I had a feeling it was going to be a bit of a dress rehearsal, and that hopefully they would have some of the kinks worked out by the third day. Some of them were and some of them weren't. Okay, what was maybe not fantastic, but it was still good. When we were waiting in line to get in, they were checking our IDs and giving us the little pearls.
These are our drink tokens.
Things out of the way so that, in theory, we would just be able to walk in the doors. I thought they were being so efficient, making sure that people would get in faster. It didn't work, but it was a nice thought. They should have, at this point, also, though, kind of explained no posing for pictures as you enter. Make sure that everyone gets in the room first, and then you can come back out later if you want to take pictures at the entrance, because the entrance was a great photo op, but there was a terrible bottleneck that I think in earlier sessions really slowed down the line, and in later sessions like mine, they just had people gruffly telling you like, no photos here, like keep going, and it wasn't very pleasant. They should have, told us that while they were coming around in line. And I totally support the choice, by the way. We need to get people in there as soon as possible. Also should have told everyone, make sure to get your gift bag before leaving. I know there were some people that left early that didn't realize that they were getting goblets and missed out on it. And that's just tragic. Photos with cast members would be in the Fantastic Court category because it's like a meet and greet. If they had still the nice, lovely, like ballroom music playing when we were able to go get photos with them. But at this point, they had really raucous, loud music. You couldn't talk to your friends. You couldn't very easily talk to the characters. I did get that moment in with Shalon, but I didn't really even try saying more than hello to anybody else. I don't know if that was purposeful, like they wanted to make sure nobody was trying to like ask deep character stuff to people or take long in line. I ran into a friend that I hadn't seen in like 15 years, and we were trying so hard to have a conversation, and we could not. I mean, the ceiling decorations were like shaking with noise, and it was intense in there. People were putting on their noise canceling headphones. Wait, this is the wrong section. We're doing this later because we're talking about good. I still think that was such a great thing to be able to go up and meet the characters. Reportedly, some sessions ran out of food. Ours was fine, and I never had to wait to get food. I just quickly asked them my food allergy questions, got my food, and my food tasted good. So good job. Here's what was rough. There was not enough seating, and the seating wasn't well placed. Had all these cute ottomans and stuff, but those are decor. You've asked us to dress in formal wear. We can't sit on those low seats. The drink lines were not an issue for me. I only had to wait maybe 15 minutes for my first drink and 5 for my second. But other nights I heard people were closer to 30 minutes trying to get a drink in the drink line, and that's definitely too much. Here's what I would say for the needs improvement, for sure, section. Event expectations felt like a huge bait and switch. They called it the Worldhopper Ball, and a lot of the discussion on Reddit and Discord, people were agreeing it didn't feel like a ball. It did not feel like a formal occasion other than how we were asked to dress. The music did not match the theme of that. Titles that might have evoked a more proper expectation: Cosmere Club, Worldhopper Lounge, Cosmere Experience even. We didn't know what it was going to be like. Some people thought it was going to be sitting at dining tables for a dinner theater sort of thing during scenes and then coming out to a dance floor to dance. This event had mostly loud, fast-paced music with this sort of like emo sad boy music joke at the end. I was kind of a devastated, crabby little Kremlin by the end of the event though, so I couldn't really enjoy the joke. But what happened just didn't feel like a ball, and so that was disappointing. That is, as a matter of taste, what I would have preferred. And you can call it Worldhopper Ball, just as long as you have some sort of tagline to sort of guide those expectations. Worldhopper Ball with DJ Stormblessed. You just gotta have some sort of warning to people who struggle with that level of noise and chaos. I did realize while making this video that they had sent out an email like a few hours before the ball, warning us that it was going to be loud and you might want to bring earplugs. So it seems pretty clear that there must have been a lot of people unhappy with this or complaining about this because they realized they needed to email people to warn them that it was going to be intense. But I'm at a convention. I'm not checking my email. I'm trying to finish my story cards pack. Events need to not be scared to say exactly what they are. Seated dinner from this time to this time, or curry samplers and chowta rolls available. Formal dancing from this time to this time, and then DJ from this time to this time. We were let into the venue so slowly that by the time we arrived and got our first drink, any opportunity for a romantic slow dance together for our first fantasy ball together was over. I kept on waiting for another good song to come on, but it never did. Keep in mind, this is preference. Like I say, a lot of people love the style of this event. But for me, if you're doing an immersive experience, bringing a world to life, it's a 2.5-hour event. You've got a good portion of that that's scenes. So just last half hour can be fun, can be crazy clubbing music, could be like the DJ Stormblessed. That's pretty standard for fantasy balls, honestly, to have the end be like that. But no longer than 30 minutes for an event this short. So many people adored this. If you had fun, cherish that. Don't worry about my opinion. And being able to watch everybody's TikToks and stories about it afterwards really warmed my heart. I'm so happy for you. It looked like you had so much fun. One thing I wanted them to do was have Wit do light weaving somehow. And as I watched someone else's video after the fact, I think that's what DJ Stormblessed was at the end, was Wit doing a light weaving of his version of DJ Stormblessed and just taking things over and making it into this crazy party using off-world music. So that actually was very thematic. We did still slow dance to emo boy music when we gave up waiting for a slow dance. So we still had our dance together, kind of. We did what we could with what we had. Obviously, with the convention, there's a lot of hustle and bustle. Trying to get the parking spot, trying to get the tickets to the first place in this one was incredibly hard and a months-long process for me. There's trying to line up for all the panels. There's all these things. I was so excited to be able to go to a separately ticketed event for the ball, where my expectation was that everyone in attendance would be able to partake of all of the entertainment and food without having to struggle to be a part of it. There was 2 major issues that prevented this from being the case. Firstly, line logistics. The line to enter the ball was very long. It probably took 5 minutes to walk to the end of it. Despite their efforts to get people's IDs checked and their drink tokens given early and all those things that they did, I heard mostly in later sessions, to try to get the line to move faster, we were still let in 30 minutes after the start time of the ball. And I read online people that had a much worse experience being let in an hour and 15 minutes after the ball had begun through no fault of their own. Now you could say, okay, well, you should have lined up an hour early. And yeah, I think that's maybe would have been smart. But the issue here is that it was set up to fail. No matter how early you were, someone was getting into the ball when it was halfway over. That's not okay. That's heartbreaking. Secondly, the scenes. The theatrical part of the experience was not accessible to everyone. I know I put this in the fantastic category because if you could see them, it would have been an amazing experience. I would be sitting here telling you it is the best thing I'd ever gone to if everybody had been able to get in on time and if everyone had been able to see the scenes. But while everyone else was experiencing views like this, we were experiencing something more like this. Wait, what was funny? Why are we gasping? What just happened? Are they married? Did they get married before the event, or are we seeing the wedding? I can't tell. At one point, my husband felt bad for me and he pulled over like a 6-inch ottoman for me to try to stand on. And on the 6-inch ottoman, me being 5'6", holding my phone above my head, this is how much I could see of the aerialists. It was so frustrating. And the problem is this event had so much farther to fall than just if I went to just a spring fantasy ball or whatever, or maybe like a book series ball I didn't care as much about. But this was my favorite book series. So not being able to see the scenes that I paid a lot of money to be able to see was really hard. All that hype build up, all of the work and yearning I put into getting tickets to the convention in time to be able to get tickets for the ball, and the absolute relief of having the tickets for the ball, it just turned into a sense of hopelessness. I saw about as much of the scenes as someone who was not in the room at all. And if you wanted to sit down somewhere to process your disappointment for a moment, nope, the seating was full too. Even though whatever percentage of the room is over there watching the scenes, the rest of us were trying to find somewhere to sit down, since watching the scenes was out. On the one hand, hey, I was just lucky to get tickets. I was lucky to be there. Despite how disappointing this was, I'm still fiercely, dramatically grateful that I got to go. But on the other hand, the scenes should have been made accessible to everyone who got a ticket. Waited to see if maybe there was a chance I would get to see a scene at the end. Waited and waited half hour.
It is time for you to get out.
And it was just Wit telling us to get out of town. I did get to see fragments of one scene. It was a cool one. I saw this woman in a great costume. She looked like Shallan, but she had a breastplate on. And I wasn't sure if it was a light weaving at first. I tried to wave to her, but she didn't respond. So then I didn't know if she was actually a guest who was really upset and looking for some. So I didn't film her just in case. She disrupted the celebration, saying, "I just want to see her," about Shallan. Yeah, some of us can relate to that. You know what? Did get to see Wit carting her off and telling her to go back to Braze. So there was that. In the end, I think really the only true issue with the event was that they sold more tickets than they had the infrastructure to serve. My guess, based off of comments that I saw online and what I saw in person at the party, is maybe 100 guests per session really had a subpar experience, really weren't able to see the scenes. Probably that many people got in horrendously late. Another group of people probably had a medium sort of experience where they could kind of see, kind of late. And then I think probably everyone else had like a stellar experience of front row seats to the world of Stormlight being brought alive, being able to enjoy the full time within the event. You know, that's one of the hardest things about fantasy balls, about immersive events, is trying to make sure that everyone can have a good experience. I think that's one of the main struggles of this type of entertainment. I think the best solution would have been to have one more session per day to be able to host the ball, to spread those numbers out a little bit more so that each session was not quite as full as it was. They needed to open doors 30 minutes early and just have some music going and let people mull about getting photo ops so that everyone could be in on time. They also could have limited tickets more for the 2 sessions per day they had, but it was already so limited. They wanted as many people to come as possibly could. We wanted as many people to possibly come. If tickets had been limited, I probably wouldn't have even been able to go. So nobody likes that solution. I think adding another session would have been the best one. So in short, my main 3 goals or hope for the ball was 1, be transported to the world of Roshar. They knocked it out of the park. It was excellent. The set was gorgeous. The lighting was fun. Beautiful. Beautifully done. Second was to share romantic dance and anniversary date with my husband. And we did what we could with what we had, but I was disappointed in like the volume level and choices of music. just my own preference. Third main hope was to see my homegirl Shalon's wedding, and they failed me there. I didn't get to see it. I will say that I hope that one day we can have a legit Worldhopper ball experience. I would love to have old Scadrial, the sort of balls that Vin/Villette would go to. It's probably logistically too complicated and expensive and hard, but imagine how cool that would be at like the Salt Lake Capitol and the balconies they have up there. Large, gorgeous venue, an official ball that leans more into guided dances and elegance and feeling like you're in another world and not that just it's this modern music. Anyway, I don't know if we'll ever see something like that. I think that this kind of event is fun. I could see something like this being like especially really cool for like the third age Mistborn, because I think that's supposed to be set in the 80s. There's a lot of fun sort of Cosmere experiences that you could do that had more of this vibe, but for this one I wish it had been a little more immersive with all the music and such. Oh my gosh, I'm harping on it way too long. I'm so sorry. They did mostly good. They're gonna learn from this. They're gonna improve. I definitely would want to go to the next themed event that Dragonsteel did or that Paladin Creative did for them. Okay. So let's go over my highlights for the entire convention. I've just got like a list that we're gonna go through pretty quickly here. Glorious Dragonsteel Anniversary Treat Yourself Extravaganza, our Shannon Hale signing. I realized that the first book we read together was a Shannon Hale book, so it was really fun for our anniversary trip to be able to get a signing with her, and we got a book signed for our friend. Also very cool to meet Kazu and get him to sign the most boring book ever. So we have that signed by both him and Brandon now. A lightning signing.
Because this is the very distinctive Mistbook. I love it.
And he's so nice. I think he just does so much to try to make little special moments for people as he can. Obviously, he can't meet everyone or talk to everyone, but he's always doing what he can. Wearing cosplays was a highlight for me, both my Mist Cloak and the Hava look. It was really fun because, you know, I was passing by and people would call me Brightness. Favorite Brandon moment of the entire convention is I was standing by a panel room to go into the next panel and didn't even realize he was coming out. But as he came out, he stopped and he looked at my Mist Cloak and he thought it was really cool. And he personally handed me a cosplay pin. Thank you. Oh my gosh. We have a witness. I witnessed. I think they're gonna start making a new one soon, so I'm glad I got the first one, the Shalash cosplay pin. Seeing Nerdforge, I tried to make it to all of their panels, getting ready for it and anticipating the ball at Queen's Closet. She also helped me weave in my lights after I had bought that so that I could have Stormlight in my crown, so very, very helpful. Finding out I was gonna get this goblet, getting the passport and all the trading cards. Oh, there was one point at which there was just one single card this girl wanted. She didn't know that you could get other cards from doing the stamps, and I was sitting by her in a panel and opening packs, and I found the one card that she wanted. The Shalon moment at the ball, seeing this shard plate cosplay leaking Stormlight, and Brandon's release party. His speech is one of the things I look forward to most every year. Speaking of, this year he covered a topic that he also covers in his essay Outside, but I want to talk about the part that overlaps what he said in his speech this year. In Outside, he says, "I don't write for plot twists or dragons or clever turns of phrase, though I enjoy all of these. I write because stories bring people inside. And I sincerely, genuinely believe that is what the world needs. Lately, I've seen a resurgence of something that genuinely disquiets me. The moment a group finds cohesion, discovering the warmth and peace of being inside, we decide there aren't enough seats, so we start muscling and pushing. Readers who came in because of the latest popular teen novel? Outside. Fans of the film version of a story instead of the book version? Outside. People who don't look the same as the supposedly conventional fan. I suspect they know this struggle far better than I do. Fantasy out of all genres should embrace the different, even if it doesn't match our specific taste. This is why I write. To understand, to make people feel seen. I type away hoping some lonely reader out there left on a curb will pick up one of my books, and in so doing learn that even if there is no place for them elsewhere, I will make one for them between these pages. In his speech this year, I feel like he reiterated this, specifically defending romanticy's space within the fantasy genre, and encouraged con-goers not to keep those people outside, and also to enjoy trading cards, enjoy the convention activities as a way to sort of reach out and interact with each other. You don't need to know a bunch of facts about the Cosmere or list every allomantic metal or surge binding or have any idea what any of that means to be here. You don't have to have first edition, first print, signed, numbered, and stamped copies to be a true fan. Those are super fun and amazing, of course. I mean, I just went through like a whole splurge process with you. I would get every piece of merch if I could. But it's not about that. If these stories bring you inside, then you belong. Anyway, if you enjoy content about themed, costumed, or immersive experiences, the creativity that goes into that, and fantasy lifestyle, that's what I do here. And even if it's not the point, signed editions are super fun, so I am doing a giveaway for the signed edition of Wind and Truth, as well as an unopened pack of the Lost Tales deck to at least give a little piece of the experience to those of you that weren't able to make it, or at least to one person. Subscribe to the channel, comment Journey Before Destination, and tell me about a book that brought you inside or gave you a lot of joy. See specific details for the giveaway in the description of the video. Let me know if you'd be interested in a video about tips and tricks for attending Dragonsteel Nexus or not. Until next time, keep creating and stay ever adventurous. Bye.